It's Full Metal Jackie on the show with us this week. We've got Serj Tankian. How are you?
Good, Jackie. How are you doing?
Doing great. Happy to have you back on the show. We're here to celebrate another EP, the Perplex Cities EP. And Serj, your musical output has been prolific of late, with Perplex Cities being your newest release. What triggered the need to be more frequent in releasing music?
I create more music than I can put out. So I tend to, put it out whenever, like 2020, for example, during COVID, the lockdowns, I worked on so much music that I was able to put out my piano concerto, Disarming Time, the 2 cinematic records we put out, and Elasticity, of course, the rock EP. And this is kind of like a follow-up to Elasticity, but in a different genre-wise. It's kind of more electro rock, some world elements, some blues elements, different flavor. And it all comes from this one song on the EP called The Race, which I had written at a time where I'd written most of the Elasticity songs, actually. And it was so different that I couldn't really put it on Elasticity, but it really influenced me into thinking, this is like a different way of doing rock. It's like using a composer's palette to create like a really kind of layered, cool rock sound, mellower, of course. And that led me to want to do another record, another EP with this type of sound. Yeah, so that's how Perplex Cities was born. And I like to give titles that people cannot pronounce to make things really difficult on everyone.
Am I saying it wrong?
No, you're saying it right, but I say it wrong. I'm like, because it's the word perplexity, but I made it into cities, so you have to stop, and that's awkward. Anyway.
Perplexities. Okay, now I'm saying it right.
Oh, you were saying it right from the beginning.
From Perplex Cities, Serj Tankian, Pop Imperialism. It's Full Metal Jackie. Serj Tankian with us on the show. We're celebrating the release of his new EP, Perplexities. And Serj, it's musically different for you. What does the EP say about the person you are right now?
I don't know if one thing of one part of my art says what it says about me. I have been writing and composing different types of music. I just finished 2 scores for 2 different Netflix series. One is like a crime series, and the other one, well, I can't say it yet, but it will all be released between, I have 3 series that I've scored being released between November and February. And it's all of it is a different type of music, and I like that. I like finding a sound that belongs to a different sphere, having to do whether it's a series or a film or of my own creation, in terms of without any referencing video material. And I like that. I like creating things. I don't like recreating the same thing over and over again in the same way. So I'm always adding something or taking something out and trying to market it differently too, instead of just making regular videos like we did on the last one. They weren't regular, but videos. Trying to use this Art Lupa app for this one, where you can kind of see me appear in your room and walk you through the songs and tell you about them and stuff, which is neat. Could be quiche, whatever. Who cares? Like, it's different.
Serj Tankian with us. His new EP is called Perplex Cities, and it's out now. Coming up, we'll check out music from Death Angel, Witchfinder General. Serj is going to be picking music. We've got Josta's weekly pick from the pit with Jamie Josta of Hatebreed coming up next. It's all on the way. It's Full Metal Jackie. Serj Tankian with us, celebrating the release of his new EP, Perplexities. And let's talk about Art Lupa. It's a virtual reality app being used to release tracks from this new EP. Serj, what excites you most about the possibilities AR technology affords music?
Well, it's really interesting because we use this app, Our Lupa, with our art exhibitions. So all my paintings have musical components to them, and this app unlocks that. It's basically optical recognition. So you can walk into a gallery and bring your smartphone, download the app, and you're able to hear each of the paintings by walking, listening to one, listening to the other, etc. Because all my paintings have musical scores. That's how we started working with this company, and then we developed this kind of unique experience, AR experience. There's a lot that could be done in AR that they're new toys, that we can play with, that we can geek out on and try things in different ways, and that's all they are. They're cool in that sense.
Serj Tankian with us. His new EP, Perplexities, is out now. Coming up this hour, the Death Clock Brutal Pick of the Week. Music from Hatebreed, Sepultura. More with Serj next.
It's Full Metal Jackie. Serj Tankian is my guest on the show this week. His new EP is called Perplexities, and recently you had the opportunity to perform a Queen song on stage with Brian May. Serj, what's significant about Queen as an influence, both musically and in terms of, Brian's activism?
They're an incredible band. They don't need me to say that. Obviously, they're a huge band, and I've always respected the band and Brian's work. And we had a mutual friend who is an astrophysicist, an Armenian astrophysicist. And this gentleman, Jackie Kajzer, along with Brian May, have created a festival, a science and music festival called Starmus. And that Starmus Festival, they've done it in 6-7 different countries around the world so far, one every year, except for the COVID years, I think. And this year it was in Armenia, and they invited me to perform a few songs with the National Orchestra, which was really amazing. And I also got to perform a song with Brian May, and he is a sweetheart, a really gentle but smart, person, and extremely talented, needless to say. And it was just a pleasure meeting him and hanging out for a bit. And and after we played the concert, and I got back to LA, and the Azerbaijan attacked Armenia, the whole Eastern Front, and there were a lot of deaths. They were attacking 36 different cities and villages, civilian infrastructure, ambulances, it was horrible. And so I reached out to my friend Garik, and I'm like, I wonder what Brian's going to say. And he made a statement. And as we did with System of a Down, basically trying to raise awareness of what's going on there and the aggression of this Armenophobia that is happening from Azerbaijan and Turkey, backed up by Turkey. It's really brutal. Luckily, Nancy Pelosi was there a few weekends ago, and she made it, very clear that the U.S. stands with Armenia in terms of, trying to protect a small country, a democracy, in an area that is a bunch of authoritarian dictatorships, be it Turkey or Azerbaijan or some of the countries around. And so we'll see what happens, but we're all on pins and needles. We're all on the edge because we're expecting another attack from Azerbaijan any minute, and Armenia is vulnerable. So we're trying to raise awareness about that.
Serj Tankian with us. Coming up next, new music from Cave In, plus the Death Clock Brutal Pick of the Week. And again, more with my guest, Serj Tankian. Stick around.
It's Full Metal Jackie. Serj Tankian on the show with us this week, talking about the new EP, Perplexities. And Serj, entertainment and information can be opposite ends of the artistic spectrum. What's most important and most difficult about conjoining the two?
Well, I actually don't agree with that premise. I think some of the best entertainers in the world were actually people that were speaking truths, because the human psyche is aware of what truth is when it's told. When you hear it, you feel it, and if it's, whether it's funny or whether it's done in a beautiful way in a song or in a film or whatever, it has more resonance than something that is purely for the sake of entertainment. So I actually find it hard to separate them. rather than, so it's kind of like the inverse of your question. I find it easy for them to be conjoined rather than separate.
Pick up the new EP from Serj Tankian, Perplexities. Perplex Cities or Perplexities, whichever you prefer. Serj, anything else you can tell us about, you always seem to be working and, putting out stuff or, working towards something. Is there anything you can tell us about, what's going on with you going into the end of the year and next year?
A couple of things. I'm working on a book. It's a philosophical kind of memoir. That'll be for a 2024 release. Really excited about that. I also just finished writing an hour of music, a suite called Invocations. It's kind of like an operatic suite with classical instruments and some ethnic instruments. We're going to do it live at the Soraya Theater in April of next year, in 2023. And it's going to be full orchestra, full choir, an amazing death metal singer, an amazing tenor, an alto, world singer, myself. It's going to be pretty whacked. And we're going to stream it worldwide. So that's another project I've got. And a few others, but I'll just keep it to that for now.
Awesome. Well, I know you're always keeping busy, so looking forward to all that's to come with this EP and everything that you've got. And Serj, always appreciate you taking the time. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, Jackie. Great. Thanks for doing this again. And it's great hearing your voice.
Music from Hatebreed and more coming up right after this.